Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Non-Native Leader, a video podcast series where we explore stories of people who are having an international career or who had an experience abroad or who are working in international environment. And if you've followed the series, if you've seen previous episodes, you know that we talk to various people from various industries, NGOs, IT, business, tech, fintech. So my idea is to explore as many stories as possible and to get inspired, to learn from these people and to share their journeys. And today I'm happy to have with me Francesco Mandolini. Hi, Francesco. Welcome.
Hi, Daniele. Thanks for having me.
And
I'm asking myself. This is called the non-native leader. But what happens if I am not a leader? What happens?
Sure. The idea is that the concepts of leadership is actually broad. Yeah. So when I say a leader, I mean someone who's working in a field and who has worked internationally or is working internationally, and he has something to say. Okay, so that's my idea of leadership. So
Okay, so that's perfectly fine. I didn't want to be a fraud to your audience. I didn't want to
sure.
look like a fraud.
Yeah. No. I'm sure you don't, because your story, your career is quite interesting, I say, and it's got some compelling ideas. This is why I thought of inviting you, and you're not a fraud, because I think you're pretty good in what you do today. But I'm not going to
Thank you.
tell what you do today, because I'd love you to tell us what you're doing.
Okay, yeah. Today I'm a professional freelance copywriter. I came up in writing and journalism. I've been a journalist for many years, for nearly 15 years now, because I still do it from time to time. That was my main focus during the college years, and immediately afterwards, I tried to. I studied in London. I studied first in Florence, then in London, and in London at the London School of Journalism, which is a very nice school where they taught me everything I know about writing in general. I have to be honest, not just journalism. And I started working with the national newspapers when I was in London, when I was still studying in that school, national Italian newspapers. Then I moved back to Italy, because I'm always the idealist, and I wanted to change Italy, the Italian landscape of journalism. I wanted to be the exception to the rule, and guess what? I wasn't. So it is very difficult to live in Italy as a journalist, because there aren't that many chances. It's not a very big market, and
Sure.
therefore I had to move to the dark side of the force, and I became how do you say that? Like, I worked
Yeah.
basically I just sent press releases, stuff like that. And
Okay,
no,
sure.
I was more like a mix figure, more as a PR and a communication expert on many levels and stuff like that. I did that for almost 8 years, until I started to wanted to move with forward towards a career in
Sure.
marketing and communication, which was my one of my many passions, because at the end of the day, to me, everything I just said is all storytelling. So it's a
You're always
different way
telling
to tell
stories. Sure.
yes, it's a different way to tell a story. um, I wanted to work as a copywriter, so I decided to quit my job, my secure income,
Uh-huh.
during a worldwide pandemic,
Uh-huh.
to become to become a freelance copywriter. And little did I know that worked perfectly fine right from the beginning. And therefore, nowadays, I've been doing that full time for 4+ years. And
Right.
I basically never needed to do some like outreach to really look for a job in this field, because word of mouth connections, when people know
Sure.
that you are good at what you do, basically, you find this kind of connections. And I never really had the time to create to do some networking, uh, up until recently, up until a few months ago, where I started to implement my personal brand on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. And that was a great decision, because I like to do I just like to network with new people, with
Yeah.
new interesting people,
I can see
such
that.
as you,
And
Danielle, such
that's
as
where
you.
I met you,
Yeah.
Francesco. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we got in touch. It was absolutely a blast, and I love to learn from new people. I love to learn from different perspectives in life and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we have already touched two great points, right? So first thing,
Yes.
you have demonstrated you're not a fraud, right?
Oh
Because
yeah, thank
you're
you, thank you. Yeah, your audience, your followers will be very happy about that.
I mean, your story speaks for itself. And the second point, the power of networking. Like, networking
Yes.
is great, and these days we have great opportunities. We have social networks, they help
Hmm.
us network. But when you do it in the right way, it's actually fantastic, because you can meet new people, you can learn, as you said, and you can have fun while you do it, which I think is the key, because if it's boring, you don't want to do it, Like, you remember when we
Yeah,
were going to school, things are boring, you don't want to do it. But if you
yeah,
learn and you have fun at the same time, I think it's pretty good. That's my idea
yeah.
anyway.
Absolutely. And you also broaden your horizons, because we both share a passion, which is a passion for music.
Sure.
And when I'm not really a great musician. I'm a self-taught guitarist, which makes for a very very bad guitarist. But after many years of being self-taught, I happen to know a very good jazz player from around my neck of the wood. And I asked to this friend of mine. I said, "Okay, just give me some lessons. I need to learn something. I'm doing everything by ear, but that's not
Sure.
enough." Um, I asked him for something very specific. Like, there is a niche of a genre that I like to play. I like to sing as well. So I asked him for something within that confine,
Sure.
and he told me, "I'm gonna teach you everything except that thing that you asked,
Ah, no way. Why?
because you need to broaden your horizon."
Sure.
That's what he told me. And he proceeded. I mean, the music I'm talking about is like it's basically rock, but with an influence from uh, funky blues,
Ah,
something like that. This is
pretty
my
cool.
this is my cup of tea, basically.
Pretty cool.
So he proceeded to teach me classical music, samba, bossa nova, basically everything except what I asked for.
Right. I mean, and did it work for you? Did it work for you?
Yes,
It
yes,
did.
absolutely.
Ah, you see.
That made me that made me learn and study things that I will never use. It's like when I'm on stage or stuff like that, I will never play bossa nova.
Sure.
But you learn the intricacies of a different way of
Absolutely.
structuring the phrases, the music, and everything, and
Yeah.
your brain starts to work in a different way that you never did before, and that really opens up your mind a lot, and I love
Wow.
it. And with work is more or less the same. It is something like that. That um, if I have to write about, I don't know, agriculture, which happens a lot, by the way. Um, I don't know anything about agriculture. It's not
Sure.
this is not what I
It's not your
studied,
field. So
but
sorry.
it's not. Yes,
Pardon
yes,
the pun. It's not your field.
pun very much intended. Uh, I don't know anything about agriculture, but I have the chance to study it. I have the chance to understand the difficulties that the people who cultivate the earth face, and that's interesting to me. That part is interesting, and I try to do the best that I can within that field. I try to learn as much as I can, and that keeps you curious. That keeps you wanting for more. And maybe the next day I'm not writing about agriculture. I may write about, I don't know, softwares, which is a completely different field. But and this is how I keep myself. I think I don't want to say interesting because I don't think I am that interesting, but I keep myself flexible with
Yeah.
with my mentality and my way to approach things and my writing at the end of the day, because uh, I like Socrates. Socrates, is that the word in English? I
Socrates,
have no
yeah.
idea. I like Socrates very much. He's the absolute best. I was about to cuss on your podcast, but I won't. He's the best, and because he said, "I know that I don't know."
Exactly.
That's the best thing that you can think about yourself. That's the best
Because
approach
it's all
in
about
life.
learning ultimately, it's
Yes,
I mean, we have this phrase like continuous learning, which is
yes,
one of the buzzwords of our times. But when we remove, okay, the facade, I think it's a great concept, continuous learning, because at the end of the day, you never stop learning. If you have that
yes,
sort of mindset and you discover new things every day, and then it shows when you work. Like, for example, in your case, uh, if you're able to write about different topics, even as you said, you're not an expert, but it shows, and that sort of makes a difference, I believe. And I mean, this is something that is always, I think, is intriguing. Yeah, the fact that you might write about, I don't know, copywriting, like in your case.
yes,
So maybe promoting your services, but doing so by talking about something completely different, like music. Yeah, uh,
yes.
and this is great, I believe, because it shows your personality, and it shows that by learning continuously, you can actually become interesting. Yeah, because you are interesting. Come on, come on.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Frank, you're too kind. Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. I'm not really I am a very social person in real life. I'm not a social person within the social media world. I don't like to go on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. You name it. It's really not. I was never a fan of it, even in past years, but more recently, even more. That's why for many years I did not approach LinkedIn at all, because I thought it was just like everything else, basically.
Sure.
Um, but when I decided to give it a try, I discovered that, yeah, it has some of the same flaws that every social network has, uh, but you can also treat it differently. You're not forced to show your personal life that much. I never share about my personal life on LinkedIn. People don't know if I am married, if I am single, if I have children, if even where I live. People don't know that. So if I'm on vacation, I don't
Yeah,
post pictures from sand beaches or some stuff like that.
sure.
So I don't do this kind of stuff. I can treat it professionally to a degree because, again, I think that the platform itself doesn't want people to be extremely technical, to go
Mm,
into the nitty gritty details of their professions.
sure.
So I scratch the surface a little bit, but you usually don't see me writing a post on LinkedIn about how to be a copywriter. Those are the
Mm,
3 copywriting
sure.
techniques or stuff like that. I don't do this kind of stuff. Um, and but it is a chance to show your personality, as you said. So you indirectly find people you can connect with just for the pleasure of it, or even people you could work with,
Yeah.
because people tend to work. I mean, uh, I give the skills for granted in a way. I think that if I am
Okay.
here talking with you, Daniele, you're a terrific English teacher about the business side of it, and you can help CEOs, marketing directors, and stuff like that to improve their English skills. I don't question that. I give that for granted. But I want to know, if I ever have to work with Daniele, would I be cool with that? Will that be a good experience
Okay.
on the human side of things, not the
Sure, yeah.
professional one?
Like, are you a
And
good
that,
person to work with or not?
exactly. And that is the thing that I want to convey in what I write, about my personality. This is what I mainly do. So yeah, if I talk about music, I talk about it because it's a passion of mine, of course, but also I can give like some hints of what are my values, what are my interests, and stuff like that. And somebody may think, okay, I want to work with this guy because I like I don't know, the Led Zeppelin or stuff like that, because he
Sure,
wrote
yeah.
about it. But it's not just because I like a particular band, or because I don't know, I am good at writing, because I think that there are thousands of people who are good at writing. There are also a lot of people who are not, and they probably have been taught badly enough by some of those gurus or stuff like that. That
Yeah, it's full of them.
oh,
Yeah.
you have to apply this method, apply this technique to become a master and stuff like that, and they all look the same. They all look like shit. So
Yeah.
I think you gotta inject a little bit of personality in what you do, in
Well,
whatever
you
you
gotta
do.
find the right balance, right? So
Yes,
what makes you unique ultimately?
yes,
Without sharing
yes,
too much. So as you say, without sharing, for example, your personal life, or without
yeah,
sharing, I don't know, like, oh look, I'm here. I'm having this amazing holiday
yeah,
in the tropics, whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, yeah, injecting your personality in whatever you do by maybe sharing your passion, for example. That's one of the ways. And yeah, this thing about finding the balance, I think, is key, because you don't want to overdo it, but at the same time,
yes,
you don't want to look like all the other
yeah,
thousands of people who have a Lambo in Dubai and millionaires.
yeah,
Where's your
exactly.
Lambo, by the way?
Oh, it's down in the garage. Yeah, I parked it. Yeah,
Okay,
the one
good man.
the one that I use here in Italy is in the garage. The one that I use in Dubai, the ones plural that I use in Dubai, there are so many.
Okay, sorry, I had to say
Oh,
that, because
yeah,
I
don't
see
worry,
so
don't
many of
worry.
these things,
No
Cool.
worry. But also another thing that I like. Sorry, tell me if I talk too
No, I mean
much.
this. I think
Tell me that. But
this is crucial. It's a great
well,
point to
yeah,
understand what we are
yeah,
doing.
yeah, because people want to listen. Yeah, I get that. No, but really, I always try to look at the implicit value, not the explicit one. For example, uh, you and I are having this conversation on your podcast, right? And you can say, "Oh yeah, I have a podcast. I know how podcast works and stuff, and blah 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 blah." That will be kind of boring to listen to, but just the mere fact that you have a podcast, what does it tell me? It tells me that you want to try different things, that you want to embark in new adventures, that you are willing to go the extra mile to do something special, something different. And if I were to choose a people to work with, I will choose somebody with those characteristics, not just somebody
Sure,
who knows stuff. There's plenty of people that know stuff.
by all means, yeah,
And yeah, that's the that's
yeah.
it.
That's
That
that's great. It's great. Yeah.
that's the value of implicitly sharing something about you, but you don't say it out loud.
No, exactly. You put yourself out there and try to do something different, something that, yeah, shows a bit of your personality. Also, I believe by choosing different people and by
Yeah.
choosing people from different industries, that is enriching, because I come from
Yes.
IT. that's what that's my background before starting teaching.
Yes.
But then I want to talk to people from every sort of background, like yours. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about copywriting. I know a little about marketing, but not that much. And so
Hmm.
that's great to have like this sort of opportunity. Now,
Yeah.
if I can, let's say, go back a little
Yeah.
to a, I don't know, few years ago. So, because you mentioned studying
Sure.
journalism in London,
Yes.
and that would have been probably like a big part of your international experience, and that gave you
Hmm.
probably the background that gave you the foundations of what you are today.
Yes.
So, did you have any challenges back then?
Oh, multiple, multiple challenges. Um, First of all, the finance situation was drastically different. I come from a blue collar family. Didn't have that much money growing up, and nobody in my family speaks English or any other language. They barely speak Italian. They all speak dialect. So, so which
Of
is quite
course.
typical, as you know.
Of course.
Um, so, first of all, for me to speak English as I do now, that was a a granted thing. Um, Much less to go to London and to study journalism, and with so many sacrifices from their behalf and mine as well, because I had to work while I was there. I was able to afford this school that I was for a year, for an academical year. Um, but it was very challenging. I spent weeks without having any money to go to buy food, and yeah, that was tough. That was tough, and tough physically and mentally as well. So London is not an easy city if you don't have money, which applies for everywhere, of course, but especially in London. Trust me. and
Yep.
uh,
I know a thing
and
or two about that, yeah.
yeah, so I was I mean I was just a student and working as a waiter at a pizza chain, so restaurant. So so I mean, and that wasn't really enough to pay my bills. That was the first challenge, of course. The second challenge, which I never ever in 1 million years could have figured out beforehand, uh, it was I mean, it sounds simplistic to say right now, but it was the weather. I mean, everybody says, okay, yeah, the UK is shitty weather, but it is not in that sense.
Hmm.
Uh, I grew up very near the Adriatic Sea. It is like 5 kilometers away from where I live today as well. Um, but I've always hated the sea. Growing up, I hated. I couldn't really go.
Couldn't
Every time my
stand
friends
it.
tried, every time my friends tried to pull me and go with them, I was really angry at them for doing that. Therefore, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to live in London. Who cares if the weather is the shit? I don't like the sun and the sea anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So, uh, well, that was the thing that I could have not fathomed before. I literally woke up in the middle of the night. Many times that happened, smelling the sea salt. I
Yeah.
was dreaming about it. I I was like, what the? I mean, you
How's it
know,
possible?
uh,
Yeah.
how is it possible? I never liked it for 20 plus years. I went there when I was 23, 24. So yeah, for 23 years, I never liked the sea. How am I dreaming about it? And that was a very big challenge to me.
What is it?
I have no idea why. Something clicked inside of me, and to this day, I have to live nearby the sea. Maybe not just at the sea. I mean, I don't tan a lot and this kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's not my.
But close
But I
enough to
have to
smell it.
know. Yes, yes. I have to know that I am close enough. If I want to just have a walk by the beach and stuff like that, I have to have this certainty in my life right now.
Yeah, you can
There's
go
one
there.
thing that I understood about me. And last but not least, I will think, yeah, there was in the educational system, there was a cultural shock to me, because in Italy, we are usually very, very pretty much focused on the theory. And there it
Of
was
course.
100% practice.
Praxis. So
Like,
get your hands
like
dirty.
from, yeah, from the first lesson, I was like, wow, that is mind blowing to me. So I came from a degree in journalism in Italy, where in 3 years, the degree was in journalism. I repeat it. In 3 years, we wrote precisely 0 articles, and the degree was in journalism. So, and then in London, from the get-go, I had amazing teachers. I had one of my tutor was a journalist. He's a journalist to this day. He's still alive. A journalist who worked for 11 years at the BBC. It was,
So
you can imagine the wealth of knowledge that this
exactly, yeah.
guy
He knew a couple
did.
of things about journalism and
Wow,
writing, I'd
you
say.
have no idea.
Wow.
I was literally mind blown by him. Every time he spoke, I was like, oh my God, where have you been all this time? Where have I
Exactly.
been all this time?
Yeah.
you
Let's
know?
have a yeah, let me take
Uh,
notes. Yeah. Whatever you say, let me take notes.
yeah. To this day, I still think of him. Whenever I need to, like, if I have to write something particularly difficult and this kind of stuff, I always think, okay, his
Hmm.
name is Andrew, by the way. Will Andrew like that? I always
Okay.
think that. Will he think that I could have done something differently?
Sure.
It was such an amazing teacher to have.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I had
Well,
the chance to study from like really so many good journalists with experience writing for the Guardian, the Times, Financial Times,
it's
and
great.
all
Yeah.
this. That was amazing. That was
Yeah, it's great to
incredibly
have
amazing.
like those mentors, who are like a guide for the rest of your
Yes.
life. I mean, because that's that's what makes a difference, right? Because you're studying, and you mentioned, the educational system, so it gives you knowledge, gives you theory, but then the opportunity to work with someone who can be your mentor, who can guide you through
Yeah.
the insights and to the different shades and shapes that writing can take, absolutely is a key, in my opinion. And that's one of the recommendation I always make, and I always hear from people, is find a mentor, find someone who can help you, can support you. And in your case, you're still
Yeah.
working to this day because you're still thinking about him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, as you said, get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Do it. Experience as much as you can. Practice as much as you can. That's the only advice. There's no other way. Whatever you want to do, if you want to write, if you want to sing, if you want to dance, if you want to learn English, whatever you want to do, get your hands dirty. That's the only way. There is no shortcut. No
Nope.
everything. You gotta do it. That's
Exactly.
Yeah, and to go back to your question, because I'm not entirely sure I answered it. Like, this is something, a very big difference that I see when I work with Italian clients of mine that I write for, or people coming from abroad, mainly from the USA. Mm, I work for a US publication as a journalist as well. So one of the main differences that I see is that this practical approach, and they want to test everything. In Italy, people are diffident. People,
Mm.
before you get to do like a job, you have like you have to really lay the foundation and try to convince the other person and stuff like that. It takes months, literally.
It's a
In
long
the US,
process.
usually it is a 15-minute call where they tell you, okay, we want to do this. This is you. If you have a pitch, go for it, and we'll measure things afterwards to see if it worked.
Yes.
Generally, that's the approach.
100% practical. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they test you, but they test you on the practical side. So yeah, this is great. Like, you have to put yourself out there, and you need to get your hands dirty, whatever you want to do. If it's a language, how can you improve if you don't speak? If it's coding, how can you improve if you don't start coding? And if it's writing, how can you improve if you don't start writing? I mean, things will get better eventually, but you got to start somewhere, and that's exactly it. Yeah.
We are our worst enemies, because we always think, "Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, what if I have to get better? I have to study. I have to." No, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Then level up later.
Exactly.
But you have to start.
Yes. Don't wait until you're perfect, because perfection seldom comes, as I said.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, and that's true
Yeah.
in the literal sense.
Yes.
Look, Francesco, we're towards the end. It's been great.
Yes.
Would you have like any final recommendation for people who want to have an international career like you?
Get rid of their preconceived notions, especially if they come from Italy. Of course, that's my experience, because how things work in your area, in your society, in your everything, most probably is not how it will work elsewhere. So yeah, whatever you think that you know, get rid of it when you have to approach a job within an international industry or whatever.
Wow. Yes, that's pretty sound, I would say. So
Yes.
yeah, it doesn't mean like going completely blank, but yeah, start new.
Yeah.
And I'd say be open. That's, if I may
Yes.
add something, be open to whatever
Yes.
comes,
100%. Yeah.
and yeah, listen to the feedback, be open, and find your way. Francesco, it's been great. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Likewise, Daniel. Likewise.
We've answered a lot of questions, a lot of implicit questions too. So that's the way I love it. So
Fantastic. I wanted to do part of your work as well. That's why.
yeah, we can do like a solo podcast.
No.
You can cut your face asking questions and answering questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to try. Yeah, maybe I'll do it in the future.
You can, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if people will love it, but yeah. Look, it's been great, and I thank you very much for being here with me, and I hope everybody, thanks for watching until the end. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, Francesco. Thank you again.
Bye.